from a 5-year veteran Toastmaster who tells me he has lost more contests than he has won. And he, I'm sure, will be very sincere in his speech. He will not tell me anything more about it. Help me welcome our Presidente, Jay Wiggins.
The Saturday before last, I was put in a patrol car and taken to jail. Now, half of you are going, oh my gosh, Jay, what happened? And then, of course, Michael's going, I could have seen this coming. Here's how it started. A friend of mine, Andy, he's a trooper with the Highway Patrol. So we were talking and he said, hey, you got to go on a ride along with me. And I thought, you know, I have an exciting job as a manager at NV Energy, but I'm pretty sure being with the Highway Patrol, chasing bad guys, shooting guns, getting in high-speed pursuits is going to be a lot more fun. So sure enough, that Saturday, Andy comes and picks me up at 4 o'clock, pulls up in his blue cruiser. It's one of those Explorers with a big motor in it. He opens the door, I get in, and the first thing he goes, and he tells me, he goes, well, do you want to wear a vest? He goes, I have an extra vest that you can wear. My first thought is, well, maybe, what are we going to get into? And then I thought, wait, if I put a vest on, nothing interesting is going to happen. So I told him, no, I don't want to wear the vest because, you know, Murphy's Law, if I wear a vest, it'll be a boring night. But if I don't wear one, I'm bound to get into something good. So sure enough, we get in the car, no vest, and he plants me in front of the computer. And our job is to just go out on patrol. And my job in front of that computer, though, is to run license plates and see if anything comes up red on the screen. Expired registration, felony warrants, or anything for people's cars out there. Now, at this point, I keep running as many people as I can, and we're not really coming up with much. Apparently everyone in Carson City is actually fairly small town. Maybe they can't get away with much. I don't know. But we don't come up with anything. But here's my first lesson to you guys. I have 3 things that I learned on this little trip. And the first one is check your lights. You gotta check your lights, because Andy, when he's by himself out there patrolling, he can't type in license plates and drive and do all that sort of stuff. He's looking for brake lights that are out, headlights are out, because it's an easy visual clue. And that's when he pulls you over and he gets your registration and finds out everything he wants to know about you. 80% of the people we were stopped that night were because of some taillight infraction. And so the next thing I ended up learning that night was the speed. And this is where I was really interested, because I kind of wanted to go on this patrol to find out where all the speed traps were. And sure enough, I did find a couple. I didn't quite tell Andy I was there for that purpose. But the second thing is speeding. That's the most common thing you think people get pulled over for. Well, Andy, the trooper, tells me that he doesn't waste his time pulling you over for 5, 8 miles per hour over. And I saw why. Everyone was doing 10, 15, 20 miles per hour over. So most of the time, the lesson here is, if you're gonna speed, go ahead, but not too much, because there are plenty of people. Don't be the fastest one out there, because Andy's not gonna waste his time with you. Andy is actually, he's gonna pick those people that are really exceeding the speed limit. And that kind of makes sense. One thing he does for you, though, he always knocks it down to the basic speed price, so you're only paying $115 instead of the reckless driving charges. So Andy's a nice guy, just trying to do his job. The last thing I learned from Andy, the third thing, is don't be a jerk and don't lie to Andy. So before I told you I got in a patrol car and then I went to jail, here's how you go to jail. Number 1, you go speeding in front of Andy, then you start to elude him, and we get in a pursuit trying to chase this guy who's making left and right turns all over the place. And he somewhat loses Andy, but we know he's in this apartment complex. And we know he's up to no good because he's obviously eluding us, and this is kind of in town, so the speed limit was only 25 miles per hour, and he's doing 35, maybe 40, trying to evade us. He goes into this apartment complex, parks his car in the back, and we pull around and see him and his girlfriend get out of the car, and we just sit there and watch him. We're like, we knew that he saw us watching him at this point. So it's dark by this point. And Andy goes and he parks in these trees, turns off all his lights, and we just wait and watch this guy. He does a circle around the apartment complex, and he goes back in his car and he takes off. We turn on our lights, we chase after him down the road. He ends up going 3 miles per hour over the speed limit, but I think Andy had a little more cause to go after this guy at this point, so I don't fault him for that 3 mile per hour violation that got this guy pulled over. And so we pull this guy over. It's obvious when he gets out of the car, he might have had a drug problem, he's very sketchy, and he flunks his DUI test. Now, he might have actually passed his DUI test if he didn't lie so much and he wasn't a jerk to Andy. Because he wasn't paying attention, he was combative, and he ended up getting busted for DUI drugs. And he told the story of how he didn't do drugs, but then, well, maybe 3 days ago I did drugs, and then maybe 2 days ago I did drugs. And so if you lie to Andy and you're a jerk to him, you're gonna get busted. So sure enough, that's how I got to go to jail that night. I got to see the process of this guy going to jail, and it was very interesting. In summary, I'd like to tell you that we learned a little bit that night, and number one, check your lights. You probably won't get pulled over if you got your lights fixed. Number two, don't speed too much, otherwise you will get a ticket. And then number three, don't be a jerk and don't lie to these guys. They have a very difficult job. We didn't see the premier perfect people in society that night. They actually deal with some of the not so perfect people in society, to put it delicately. And if you ever get a chance, I would suggest you schedule a ride-along with local law enforcement to get a feel with what they have to do. It really will give you an appreciation of the job they do. And if you do this, you get to ride in a police car, hopefully go to jail, and have a captivating, great time. Thanks.